What's up, everyone? Gig Coach Jake here, streaming live, and I want to talk about GrubHub contribution and some of the changes they've made for 2019. So what they've done is they've not only increased some contribution to some markets, they've completely removed it in others. That started as soon as today. So what happened, like I was saying, increased in some markets and going away in others. So what they're using is they're using data in the different markets to determine who's going to be shut down and who's not. So those that do rely on contribution, don't worry if you're in a slower market. If you're in a busier market and you're just kind of taking advantage of contribution a little bit, yeah, it's going away. So I'll talk more about why that is in a little bit. Big changes though for GrubHub, right? I'm thankful for it because some of us that cherry pick, we get caught up on it. They use the contribution system to restrict our blocks. So guess what? They do away with contribution. There's no more block restriction, right? Not completely. They can still restrict your blocks for different reasons. So why would they do away with it? Cost. Think about it. How much money are they putting out in contribution every week, especially in these slow markets, right? And I get it. It's their way to grow in those markets. They need drivers. But there's other ways of doing it. They're seeing that DoorDash, some of these other companies, they didn't have to do stuff like that. They're paying any contribution. The other thing is driver care. What's another thing they got rid of, right? Driver care. So it's less overhead. We're dealing more now with customer care, that third party that's overseas. It's a lot cheaper for them. And getting rid of driver care, it's a lot of money they can save. What else have they been doing lately? Lots of marketing. So GrubHub's latest moves, there's a great article out. They're doing tons of marketing. I don't know if any of you have seen. Anyone that watches NFL, I've seen it, and it's like those that watch NFL and know anything about that, those ads and commercials are not cheap at all. I've seen ads on TV. I've seen ads on, social media, all over the place. Why are they doing that? Because they have to step up their game, right? DoorDash is a big threat now. DoorDash is looking to do an IPO. So they're looking to be traded publicly just like GrubHub. GrubHub so far is the only successful and profitable company as far as gig companies go. But they got a lot of competition coming up. A lot of things are coming, right? So I know some of you are like, what? Yes, all over YouTube. I know some people already posted videos on it. I'm a little late to the party, right? So I got some of my own views on that. Now back to that. Think about how much they have to spend and how much headache it is to manage the contribution system, right? It's got to be a pain in the butt. Not to mention a lot of wasted money. So again, they're spending a lot of money in marketing, right? They've upped that big time to compete with everyone else and keep their top spot in the food delivery sector. Uber Eats doesn't have a chance. I know some people were talking about it. Uber Eats, they're garbage, man. They don't have a chance. DoorDash, they're a legitimate threat. Now what DoorDash is doing is something similar that Uber did with rideshare. I'll talk more about that in a little bit here. The other thing is fast pay. A lot of people are screaming for fast pay, and how else can they get drivers that they don't have? Fast pay, right? So I know a lot of drivers like some of these other platforms over GrubHub because they can go cash out the same day. It's an option that they can't have because of the contribution system. So just think about that. Over time, they phase out contribution, then we can get some type of daily pay or fast pay system like all these other apps have, like Uber, Lyft. I mean, I think GrubHub's probably one of the only ones left that doesn't have fast pay, but that's because they're one of the only ones that does an hourly guarantee in a contribution system. So, Charles, do you disagree? Uber Eats is the busiest in your city by far. What city are you in? Now, I didn't say they were the busiest, There's a lot more to that. Anyhow, moving on. So, how does this affect everyone? Not just contribution workers, right? So, there's no more safety net for those of you that do rely on contribution. You're not going to have that. So, if you're on a slower market, just know that what GrubHub and all these companies do, when they start in other markets and they test it out, over time, it eventually will come to your market. I know that, testing it out, but this is something that's definitely going to be a change going forward. And it makes a lot of sense for them. I'm surprised it took them this long. But anyhow, it's all back due to the amount of money they're spending in marketing. They got to save that money somewhere else. And a big chunk they could save is, you know, driver care, contribution system. I can imagine how much that they're spending in contribution. But more drivers. When they get rid of contribution and they don't have to worry about paying an hourly guarantee, they have no worries and no caps about how many drivers in the market. That's bad news, right? And I know in a lot of markets right now we're experiencing huge slowdowns. That's from a couple other reasons. Think about all the federal workers that are not working right now. It's January, the first few weeks of January, everybody's got their meal prep service. They're trying to get fitter. They're doing less food delivery. They're trying to make better decisions. So don't worry, come tax time, some of that slow periodness will change. But those are a couple of the big contributing factors lately of why it's a lot slower. I know in my market though, they've added a lot of drivers. It's tough. Where you can really see that is come block scheduling time, right? If you're a partner driver, I mean, I know before I was able to schedule some blocks pretty easily and have no problem. Now it's tough. I got to be quicker and I almost have to jump some days to make sure I get some on other days if I'm a little bit late to the party on that. So, Charles, McDonald's isn't going anywhere. Well, guess what? DoorDash has McDonald's now too. DoorDash is killing it, dude. As far as like food delivery goes, what can Uber do, right? Before they had like some of the fast food. GrubHub has KFC. They got Burger King. They got Taco Bell. I mean, who else do they have? I mean, they're going to get more. So trust on that. McDonald's isn't going anywhere, but neither is DoorDash and GrubHub, and they're adding them on there. I guarantee you that McDonald's, they're probably going to be on a GrubHub soon too. They're already on DoorDash, but yeah, we don't like them, right? It sucks for us, like Taco Bell and all these, but huge money. Think about Taco Bell, right? Taco Bell is a huge favorite out there as far as people in fast food. I could tell you how many tweets I've seen on Twitter, people talking about like, I never have to leave the house now. They got Taco Bell on GrubHub. Good move, GrubHub. But they did that to compete with people like Uber Eats and DoorDash and whatnot. Will a block system go away? I know a lot of people are wondering, okay, if they're getting rid of contributions, does that mean blocks are going to go away? Hell no. You know why? Because the block system gets the no-tip deliveries done. If they have no block system, what's going to incentivize people to take those no-tip deliveries? The only thing right now is scheduling, right? One of the biggest posts you probably see on Facebook right now is people freaked out about scheduling, not enough blocks, yada, yada, yada. That is psychologically the biggest driver to get people to accept these no-tip offers, right? You keep a certain percentage of acceptance rating, and then you can get first priority to block scheduling, potential for catering, and blah, yada, yada, yada. But anyhow, let's see, TP. Jake, every time in GrubHub is slow in my market, my area, I switch DoorDash, and boom, I get an order. You know why? It might be because you have to where they can see some of the things in your app. You have the permissions, right? So if you have all the permissions where they can see more than your location, they possibly can see them when you're running another app, and there might be something in the program to kick you an order. I don't know. I've heard about that too, and it seems like I have both. It's almost like, hey, you know, I got my girlfriend calling, I'm over in my side pieces or something like that. Anyway, I don't do that. I don't fly like that. But just to use a funny analogy. Anyhow, I don't know how much truth there is to that. It's possible, especially if you have the permissions open where they can see on your phone everything that you're doing. But again, back to block systems. It's not going anywhere. The block system's a beautiful thing for GrubHub because that's their way to effectively herd the sheep, right? No offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying sheep, but it's their way to control drivers and to get those no-tip offers accepted. Because again, they're going to continue to add places like Taco Bell, KFC, Burger King. KFC is actually a good one. But Burger King, Taco Bell, McDonald's is coming if they can. Better believe that, especially since DoorDash jumped on it. So they're going to add more drivers. So they're going to let us all fight for it and see who's going to pick up what, right? And mentally we're going to think, okay, well, I just got to accept more offers and keep my acceptance rating up to be able to make good money. It's going to be bad news for GrubHub altogether. Drivers will start looking for other options. GrubHub is going to go from the best priority for drivers to right in the middle with everyone else. They're going to kind of lose their luster. So, yeah, good and bad. Good move for them to kind of stay on top, but bad move for drivers overall because, again, just going to lead to saturation. So Uber did this great, and DoorDash is doing the same thing Uber did in the food delivery sector. They're driving down the rates. They're driving it down, right? And everybody else has to compete. They have to compete. It's unfortunate, man, but Uber did the same thing. Lyft and Uber, they basically had a race to the bottom. Look at the rates for rideshare drivers now. It's absolute garbage. Those guys are making like 60-something cents per mile. The IRS just bumped us up, I believe, to 58 cents per mile for deduction. So they're running at like a 7 cents per mile profit without deadheading factored in. That's terrible. Anyhow, blocks are here to stay. Sorry, man, they're not going anywhere. It's fast pay reality. Yes, when contribution is completely gone, that's when they're going to be a fast pay. I know a lot of you love hearing that. I'm not a huge fan because guess what that means? Everybody, their brother, their mother, their uncle, their aunt is going to be coming on to GrubHub and signing up. More saturation means less ratio of demand to drivers. Cherry picking is going to be a lot harder because, again, you just have more drivers. So if contribution completely goes away and they start to really bump up and ramp up the driver saturation, like they seem to be doing in some areas, it's bad news for GrubHub. I myself, I never keep my eggs all in one basket. I have plans already looking to the next move. You know, so if it does go bad, I'm moving on. I'm going to be successful otherwise, elsewhere. But just to give you all a heads up on what made it come. So, the future for GrubHub drivers, is it bad? Potentially, yes. And I just explained to you why. Am I completely right? I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. But the way it looks like contribution over time is going to be phased out. It'll be left in some of these slower markets so they can grow in, right? And there might be some type of stipulation if they do have contribution left, but to reintroduce fast pay. So fast pay would be a big incentive for them to bring drivers on board, right? And if they aren't paying contribution, what's to hold them back from signing up more and more drivers? Let's see what you guys have to say. GrubHub better keep their drivers. Yeah, Juan, they definitely better keep their drivers, and they need to keep us happy. So let's see, post average $9 per delivery. I'm guessing you're talking about Uber Eats, Charles. How are these companies making any money? Rich, to be honest with you, GrubHub's the only one making money, and that's because they have done the drivers pretty well over the long haul. But, you know, like with the contribution system, right? So they've also had a lot of quality restaurants and merchants. And what these companies do, like the food deliveries, they get a percentage from the merchant right out the gate. So when there's a delivery, they get their piece of the pie right there. If there's a delivery fee, they get their delivery fee. For DoorDash, right? Eventually, over time with their system, they're going to be making a killing because they only have to pay a certain amount of deliveries. So say that you tip me $3 on delivery, they only have to kick in $2 to make that $5 minimum or whatever the minimum may be in the market. So that's how they're making their money, off their percentage off the merchants. And then like with DoorDash, eventually they'll make off the taken away from the drivers, the less delivery. But man, let's see, what about rumors that GrubHub won't show off offer amounts? If GrubHub does away with not showing offer amounts, that is one of the hugest factors that people with drivers flock to GrubHub and stay with GrubHub. We have a great idea of what we're going to make before we accept. And it's one of the things I just talked about in a video I made for another channel, that GrubHub is the only one that shows us up front the exact dollar amount that we're going to make in the end, no guessing. So I hope that rumor's not true. I don't buy it. Anyhow, best offer all day, 705. Some days are rough, man. Some are better than others. Is contribution going away in Phoenix? Phoenix is a big market. You best believe that Phoenix is on the top of the list for those ones where contribution is going to go bye-bye. Postmates average $9. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, when I was doing Postmates, I was right around $10 per average, but I was cherry picking like crazy. And it's gotten a lot slower then. So, again, everything's market dependent, right? DoorDash average here is $5. Now, $5 on the incoming. A lot of times it does pay higher than $5 though. They don't always show that, which sucks. I don't understand how drivers say GrubHub removing contributions is a good thing. It's just another thing taken away from drivers. Yeah, Kevin, I don't get it either. I think it's a bad thing all the way around because, again, that's a safety net for a lot of people, right? That's the one thing in their head that they know out, and they're like, okay, if I go accept some of these trash orders, I do whatever, I can at least make 12, 15, 10, 50 in my, whatever the minimum is, right? It's better than zero. And it really takes away the limitations of what the company can do as far as increasing drivers and crap like that. So contribution is one of the things that make GrubHub better than the rest, and showing the offers. So if those two things go bye-bye, a lot of us are too. So if GrubHub takes away the offers and they lose drivers over it, that could be a good thing, couldn't it? Depends. If you're a driver that accepts everything, yeah, you have less competition. But I'm not sold on that one. Which one do you recommend the most? Depends on your market. Every market has the app that's better. I know right here in Phoenix, GrubHub's the best one. And that's just because I can make the most, right? They have a lot of good merchants. They have a really good market share. And DoorDash they're coming on strong though. So DoorDash's average $7. Yeah, DoorDash average payout's pretty low. Without those $1 per delivery bonuses, they suck. Those that are running doing right now, if you're a new driver and you're in a promo with somebody, man, if they're hooking you up somehow, I'm not going to talk details, then you can make some more per delivery. But outside of that 150 deliveries, DoorDash is tough. Let's see. How do you get these people to tip? Man, the ones where they tip ahead of time, it's tough. Sometimes communication, right? Think about a little bit of communication goes a long way. Maybe it's a text when you're leaving the merchant saying, hey, I'm leaving with your food. I just want to make sure that your address is correct. Any special directions if you're in an apartment complex or something like that. That might lead to an extra tip. So anyhow, I just mean less saturation. All right, guys, ladies, I got to jump off. I got to log on. Be safe out there. Work hard, but work smarter.